Hey guys, welcome to another fun and exciting I Might GT7 stream. This is the Nations Cup at Interlagos in the Super Formula cars. Very twitchy and tricky. Suspension is adjustable, so I've made the adjustments to suit my liking, and it's soft and medium tyres available and required, so a pit stop was required to put both compounds on. Didn't qualify. This was the race 3 of the day, but my second race of the day. My first race was reasonable, but I thought again I could do better. So trying to start from the back, there's Muzbear, I think his name is. Didn't qualify either. So second last. This is just very messy, this bit. Been sandwiched once, and now I'm going to get sandwiched again. And luckily, I'm able to stay stable while those two guys get wiped off. And I've made it from, 10th, I think, up to 5th place. Bit disappointed with the number of cars in the race. I don't know, just the numbers seem to be getting lower and lower, like people are dropping out. Anyway, my setup is traction control 2. The tyres can be a bit twitchy, as you can see in front of me there. Just trying to get past Mr. Pro. So traction control on 2, and then I don't know why, I just felt a bit more comfortable with the active stability management and the counter steer on strong. It's my usual go-to assists, and I felt comfortable. I was really looking for an area where I could get the most stability and longevity out of my tyres. My first race, I started on mediums and went to about completed lap 7, and then pitted for softs and did okay. Was going to do the same with this one, but I get nervous, and so just before the race I'll shoot off and go to the toilet to calm my nerves. And when I came back, the lineup had already started. I realised I missed my opportunity to put the medium tyres on. So starting on softs, and I've had it before where if not everything goes to plan, sometimes something good will come out of it, sometimes. So starting on softs, I'm now just going to push for as far as I can go. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to be up in a 4th place already on lap 2 from 10th. And again, it's just out of shot in the bottom right hand corner. I've got the replay third person image, but behind that is the overtake button, which 20 laps I thought, well, every quarter I can use a quarter every 5 laps, let's say. So the plan was just along the straights down here, the start finish straight, the straight wheel just on, and this section I'd just give taps through the gears, just to consume some of that overtake, not prolong holds, or else you'll lose it pretty quickly. I haven't had a look really at other people, whether or not some people just do not use it at all, and others will use it up way too soon. So I didn't really have a look to see how people went. So I guess my focus, 20 laps long, is to try really to get away from the person behind me. And so luckily they're out of my slipstream, so I don't really have to worry too much, but my eyes are still on people behind me. It's a real gauge on how I'm performing. And of course it's early days. but I'd be keeping an eye on the lap time, so I'm just trying to work out, and obviously not now, maybe come lap, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 17, I'll be having a look at the lap times, and if my times are dropping off more than maybe 1.5 seconds, then it's time to go on to the mediums. Now, I don't know what happened there. This is Kenny, and I've chatted to him after the race. Personally, I felt like he just slowed up a bit on the corner. It may have been me just braking a bit late, but I've slowed down to, let him keep going, and I don't know why he's just totally lost it. So that's Kenny. I've raced against him before, and I'm aware of him because I think Aussie Tech, he streams, and he's, I think, mates with Kenny, but he keeps using the reference, oh my god, I just killed Kenny. So 2-second penalty for me, fair enough, and I've just had Mr. Pro and the guardsman, I think his name is, get past, so was in 4th, got to 3rd, now back down to 5th, and Kenny, I just nowhere to be seen, and I'm just so focused on the race that lap 1 with people sandwiching me and me involved with other people getting knocked off, and then Kenny as well, I kind of would forget who those people were. So at the end of the race I didn't actually apologise because I wasn't aware of who they were. I'm just looking at cars, not necessarily the names. So I don't know, I think some people either don't do a suspension setup or they may just get it wrong, because this guy in front, the guardsman, he just seems to be a little bit loose. Maybe no assists like traction control, so he's just pushing it a bit hard on the corners. So he's pitting, and I thought, wow, that's early. It's now up into 4th. It was now tied 1.7, 1.6 seconds behind Mr. Pro, and a reasonable gap behind me with Throwtail. So yeah, just down here I'd be just tapping twice maybe the overtake button, and then through this section not at all. And then of course also trying to get the gearings right. Obviously I'm gearing down for the corners, then I'm just trying to gear up a little bit earlier than before the exit so I don't spin the back tyres. Obviously having traction control on helps me not do that, but so for example I'm braking and going through a corner in 2nd gear, I'll put it into 3rd as soon as possible to stop the rears from trying to step out. So 3rd, then should be into 4th. No, I've left that a bit late. Probably you'll see it more this corner. I think I go down to 2nd, then 3rd. No, just 3rd, then early into 4th. Go a touch wide there. I think I got that a bit wrong. Chewing a bit of fuel, and 5th seems to be about right for this corner. This is the example here, putting it into 3rd, then accelerate out. So seems to be holding ground at the moment, holding 4th place quite well. Still got Mr. Pro, what is he, about 3.6 seconds ahead, and Throwtail, I think I'm just slowly getting away from him. He may be on medium tyres. reasonable gap either way. So there we go, Throwtail and Muzzbear, I think it is. Pitting, so now I've got a 9-second gap. Razor Eagle, I think that is. So the gap behind me is just slowly, obviously people pitting, but it just gives me a bit of peace of mind knowing I've got a healthy gap behind me. And then throughout the race, just keeping an eye on the tyres. So my brake balance is at 5 to the rear. Yeah, I did find that the fronts would want to wear out quite a bit. So brake balance right to the rear, trying to protect the fronts. And so far, so good. You know, we're nearing the halfway point. And I'd say I've got about 25% wear on those front tyres. And it looks like, yeah, the time is coming down between me and Mr. Pro. It's 1.9 seconds. So remember, I'm just tapping on the straights, tapping the overtake button, trying to get the most out of it without overusing it. It looks like it's working. It's also possibly Jono in P2. Looks like Mr. Pro's catching him, so possibly Jono is slowing up a bit, and Mr. Pro and myself are slowly catching up. So all of a sudden that 1.7 gap has now climbed a bit. 2.0 seconds. It's more taps up the hill and then just along here. So there's probably 4 taps along this long straight. 2 up the hill and 2 along the level bit of the straight. And then 1 here into 5th, and then another one. Possibly not here, we're sort of heading towards the corner now. 1 here, 1 tap of the overtake button, another one, leave it in 5th, lift, those 2 corners there probably, and this one. Just really making sure I'm not overcooking the corners, pushing too hard where I just go wide. It's going to kill the tyres and time. So I'm really catching this guy now. Trying my hardest to get in his slipstream. 2 more taps of the overtake. 2 more along here, and then luckily he pits. Now if you watch my stream previous to this one, Nations at Fuji, I had a run-in with this Jono. Didn't seem to be a bit of a fair driver, so I was a bit concerned racing against him, but also yeah, slightly excited, like a bit of unfinished business in a way, and or you know, I wanted to prove a point again that I could beat him, and so far he's been doing well. I think he qualified 2nd, and but his race has been a bit up and down at the moment, so I just want to make him nervous. But I didn't want to catch him up where I'm side by side. I don't know how he'd respond, so I'm hoping that he's getting nervous at me as well. So we'll see if that 2.9 second time drops. So unfortunately you can't see the overtake button, but like I said, about every 5 laps I'm able to consume a quarter of the overtake gauge. So I'll be just under halfway now, or around the halfway mark. Always like to preserve some for near the end, in case I want to attack or I need to defend. So I'm really catching him up now, nearly into the 1 second, nearly in his slipstream. And this kind of zone is where I like it. I don't like exactly being in the slipstream, but just outside of it, where they begin to panic and want to push to get away. I want them to push, wear their tyres down, make a mistake. So it looks like the front tyres are about 50% worn now. Lap times are looking pretty reasonable, minute 17s, minute 18s. Relatively consistent. And the guy who was behind me, 14 seconds behind, is pitting. So the gap only gets bigger and bigger. So the guy behind me now, I wasn't aware, in P4 is Kenny again. The guy who I hit on this corner. And then he went off track and I thought he was gone. It's pretty hard to come back from that. But he's in P4 at the moment. So he's done really well. And I knew the pit stop is about 20 seconds, so if I'm going to pit, I'd like to have a bit more of a gap. Now a dummy there, that's what I was doing. I was catching up Jono, didn't want to be side by side, and I thought I'm going to dummy that I'm going to pit. So that he would think, well, if he pits as well, he'll enter before me, he'll leave before me, and he'll maintain position. But I dummied him there. Still got a reasonable amount of meat on my tyres, and it's a bit too soon to be putting mediums on. There's another 7 laps. So I wanted to sort of trick him into trying to pit. Now whether he was going to pit or not anyway, I don't know, but I wanted to try and influence him to pit. And now it's time to try and make a bit of ground while I'm still on these softs, and he's getting onto the mediums. If you look at the little map up ahead, he's still in 3rd, so he's doing alright. I thought he was going to be coming out in a pack of cars. So Kenny's just past Jono, which is good for me. The only thing is, I didn't know, I wanted to know the time between me and Jono, to know whether or not I can pit. The guy in front, P1, I think he's an A driver, Sterling. So he's 6 seconds ahead. I don't think he's pitted, which I'm pretty sure he hasn't. But again, the little map at the top right, there's one hell of a gap between me and Kenny. But that's only, what, 22 seconds. So it's about this point I'm sort of thinking, do I pit now, even though I know the tyres are a bit slower? My tyres are pretty worn, and I could spin out, I could drop this car at any point. But if I wasn't sure, I'd just push again. I really wanted to aim for maybe lap 17, 18. Because I didn't want to be out in the mediums for too long. Because when I pit, they will really catch up. So Sterling is pitted. I think in the race I actually wasn't aware. And then I realised I'm in P1 at the moment. I think I've improved a lot on time management. I think in the early days I'd be quite horrible at looking after my tyres, being pretty rough and braking hard, cornering hard. Whereas I think I'm slowly learning to manage the car a bit more. Not just this car, like, you know, the Nissans or whatever, Group 3, Group 4 cars I'm mainly talking about. So now that Sterling has pitted and has come back out, he's 14 seconds behind me. I'm still yet to pit. I'm on lap 17 now, and I knew there's no way I'm going to make enough time to keep in front of him. So my race, I knew, wasn't with this guy, Sterling. I really wanted to just beat that Jono. So if you haven't seen it, have a look at the previous race, Nations Cup at Fuji, and you'll see Jono win that race. So looking at the tyres, you know, I wonder if you'd be thinking, well, you probably could go to lap 19, but I'm looking at the split times and I'm feeling the car. And the only thing I can really gauge Jono off is the guy behind me. If the guy behind me is catching, maybe it's because I'm going slow. So I think it's here I decide I'm going to pit. And there's no slowing down, just go for it. And then think hard about what tyre you're going to put on. So there's Sterling getting past. And then Kenny, the guy who I hit on lap 4 and went into a spin, he's done really well. And he's made a huge comeback. I don't know how many places he dropped, but he wasn't in the top 8 for a little while. So he's made a huge comeback. I wasn't aware of really who did I hit. I didn't know it was him at the time. All I knew was I hit someone and they went off track eventually. But it wasn't until I looked at the replay I realised that, my God, that's the guy who I hit and he went off track. So again, he's done really well. So coming up to 2 laps remaining, and there's Jono 5 seconds behind me, so it's a bit of an undercut. He was in front of me by, what, half a second, let's say, when he pitted. And now I'm 5 seconds. It's just confirming my traction control because I'm on these mediums. Penultimate lap, and I can see I'm sort of holding ground with Jono. So it was Kenny at the time. I'm thinking, well, he's 3 seconds ahead. I've got fresh tyres on. can I get close enough to put him under pressure and put him into a mistake, for example? It's a little bit early to reside for third place, so I thought I'll give it a shot to make a move. And Jono is now 6 seconds behind me, so he's dropping off a bit. So I'm still pushing a final lap and I'm still pushing. It's probably around here where I kind of knew this would be how I'll finish. So second race of the day for me. It's quite a bit of an improvement. Not planned, I went off to the toilet and forgot to change tyres, and it seems to have worked out quite fine. Again, a bit disappointed in the low amount of drivers in the race, but pretty happy with that. Podium position, starting 10th, moving up 7 places to 3rd. Hopefully enjoyed the stream, guys. Post your streams and I'll watch and comment as well. And hopefully enjoyed that. And see you in the next one. Bye for now.